Oh, there. I think we're live. What is up, everyone? Just gonna make sure that we are officially live on the Facebooks.
What's up?
Let me see. Let me see. Good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Automate Your Agency Shows. It seems like we already have a like here from William Thao. What is up, William? Where you calling from? Where are you listening from? Let us know. Welcome to the Automate Your Agency Show. We have been doing this every single week now for the last 22 weeks. And for the month of, I believe, maybe end of August towards, maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks into September, we've been doing expert interviews. We had Andrew Carozzi, the Go High Level people. We had Ben, Shane, James, probably 5 experts here. And before that, me and Reina were just kind of doing this show both ourselves. We were showing you guys the automations that we had, the systems that we had for our agency. If you want to check out our previous shows, go ahead and click the unit section of this group. I believe if you are on your desktop, it's at the top, kind of under the banner. If you're in mobile, I think it's there too. Not sure, just go ahead and Google it. But you'll see all of our past 21 shows, 21 weeks of content of us showing you how to grow your agency, showing you the systems that you need behind your agency so you can really, get more time back into your hands. Once again, thanks for watching this show. I have a business partner here, Reynard, and we're going to talk about how can you maintain sanity, right, when working from home. And I think, there's like a issue with my voice there, but
You're good.
but I think this is it's a great topic because with the pandemic going on, with the shifts that are going on in the world, people were kind of forced to change their habits, change their ways, change certain routines that they had. Even for myself, and Reynard, I think you're seeing this with some of our team members at our agency at Augment Digital, that they're kind of struggling, right? Some of them at least are struggling with this whole new concept.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, we're seeing that across the entire, the team, even the contractors we work with. Like, it's just been hard to kind of maintain the level of productivity, especially now. So yeah, it's been a challenge, but yeah, we've seen that as well with some of our clients. So yeah, we wanted to take the show to kind of just talk through like what strategies we came up with, because even we have gone through that phase. It's been a long 6 months of just staying at home. So like we just wanted to give a chat about like how can we get through that, and how can you as a business owner reframe a lot of the things you're seeing right now that we're seeing as well, so you can get through this time unscathed, right?
Yeah. If you're watching live or if you're watching the replay, let us know in the comments below, like, where are you working right now versus what were you doing? Like, where were you working before the whole pandemic situation? Did you have your own office? Were you in a co-working space? Did you go to cafes? Let's say, you like to roam around, you're a nomad, right? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to kind of just get to know, the community a lot better. But the thing about this working from home, right? And I think it's important to understand that your kind of I guess your mental health affects your business, because one of our mentors before, he told us that we don't really have business problems. We have personal problems that pretty much show up in business, right? And until we begin to kind of solve those personal issues, only can we begin to solve, these business problems. And I think for many of you, maybe you're seeing some changes in your business, right? And that might be a direct, maybe a reflection of the changes that are happening within yourself, right? Within your own sanity, your mental health, the environment, and all that good stuff. And I think sanity really comes from from clarity, right? That's one big thing, because I was before the show I was googling what does sanity mean, right? It's our ability to think it's our ability to think rationally, to think clearly, and I think that issue of clarity is so important. And with the uncertainty that's going on, that's like a lack of clarity, right, Raynard?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And clarity comes from just having complete understanding of what you're gonna do next, and that ties into the idea of just having control, right? So it's if you feel uncertain, like Fran said, especially in this time, it's so uncertain. You don't know next week if you're gonna go in, if your city's gonna go under another quarantine period or another lockdown. You don't know if the next 2 weeks, a city where 5 of your clients are in, they go into lockdown and they're gonna have to pause. So there's a lot of uncertainty, both in business and in personal, because this affects your personal life as well. And both of those just makes it really hard to manufacture control, which makes it hard to gain clarity on what to do, what to do next. And like Fran said, that's what creates kind of like that feeling of just sanity in your business for like what do I do? Right. And we deal with a lot of that. We see a lot of that with our clients even without the pandemic. But then the pandemic has kind of like amplified that feeling. And so what we can do is just like find ways around it, right?
100%. 100%. And even that's true. I like to think that even though nature has its own seasons, her own seasons, right? I think us as well as human beings, we also have our own seasons. And when Reynard mentioned that even before the pandemic, some of our clients and the Agency Rocket Fuel program, or even some of our team members, they go through different phases, right? You know how there's winter, spring, summer, fall. Do you ever wonder why it gets cold in the winter? You don't. It's just part of a season. And I think when it comes to your own life as well, when it comes to you running your business, or as a freelancer, you will have different seasons in life. That's something that took me a while. I'm not sure about you, Renan, but it took me a while to understand that um, there are weeks when I could probably go maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks, just kind of like hammering through everything, and then maybe after that, like there's one week where it's like it's hard for me to get out of bed, right? I think I've had that recently after going through. And you need to have self-awareness to understand like what that timeline is for you, right? Do you have kind of moments like that, bro?
Yeah, like it happens. Doesn't happen as often anymore. But then for me, it's like, yeah, I think one of the things, that we've learned, I think both of us have learned, is just like, again, going back to the idea of like control. It's like now that you're in a time where there's so much externally that you can't control, you need to find ways to manufacture that control within. Right? And going back to the conversation about, how does that happen where, you have days or weeks where you're off? It definitely happens. But if you can have, like Fran said, the self-awareness to find out what that feels like and when it's about to happen, then you'll be more at peace with it, and you can allow yourself to feel it and just go through the motion, right? Because what adds to that level of anxiety is, example, you're about to have a bad week, you're about to crash because you've been hustling for like 4 or 6 weeks or whatever it is. And once you crash, or your body just telling you like, I can't do it anymore, you try to resist and you're like, no, I'm gonna push, or you feel bad, or you're like, no, I should still be pushing really hard, or like I'm still having, I need to be pushing right now. So it's on top of the anxiety and stress you're already feeling from crashing, from pushing so hard 4 to 6 weeks. There's an added stress from like not being okay with it, right? Like Fran said, not being self-aware of it happening. So that's one of the ways I've seen that you can cope better with it, is when you're aware, you're very self-aware of when it happens for you, and you allow yourself to go through it. Well, of course, because if you allow yourself, then that's in the premise that you've kind of done your preparations, that you've kind of delegated some of your tasks off to people who are like on their high right now, or you've kind of communicated to your team that, hey, this week I don't feel so good, I'm gonna take I'm gonna just work like a few hours every day, but do let me know if there's anything urgent that I need to take care of. So just being able to manufacture that control for me has helped recently. It's been easier for me to kind of like weave in and out of those, like Fran said, seasons. So I would kind of like, that's what I would recommend to do, right, Fran? That's something we learned from one of our mentors as well. It's been super helpful. I think we both kind of applied.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And for some of you, it might be longer. Maybe for Rainer, his seasons are longer. For someone else, his or her season might be shorter. So again, like having that clarity of understanding what your timeline is, and like what Rainer said, being proactive about, okay, kind of like my season's coming up, so what can I do to kind of prepare for that? Or, oh my God, I'm already in this winter season, so how can I shift things around to make sure that we're still moving forward despite this? And in terms of working from home, I think this is an interesting topic because me and Raina, we both started as as freelancers. We had our own separate things. We were kind of used to the whole working from anywhere, working at home and all that good stuff. And we've seen other people that they're used to this whole kind of office setting, right? They're used to clocking at 8, leaving at 5, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But I think working from home and working remotely is a skill that can be learned. It's a skill that over time you kind of get used to. I remember the first time that I, got that freedom, right? Of like, I can work in cafes. And And it was a bit of a struggle, because like you wouldn't know. I mean, you'd have to find a cafe that has the internet. You'd have to find um, sometimes you have to find a cafe that has working plugs, just so you can charge your laptop. It's a skill. It's a skill that you need to learn. And especially working from home, I think, we can talk about strategies here, Reynard, but um, I think as human beings, we're associative, right? What that means is we associate things. And when you're at home, it's where you sleep, it's where you rest, it's where you spend time with your family. And if you add work onto that, your brain probably has a hard time associating what is it that we're actually doing here, right? And so one of the tips that we kind of give our team members, and to our clients as well, is kind of have a way to differentiate, where you're sleeping and where you're working, right? Say for example, maybe if you live in a studio, it's kind of hard because like it's one small space, right? It's like kind of hard to put separations. But what you can do is, if you're working, don't look at your bed, right? Maybe like what Reynard is doing, position yourself in a way where the bed is maybe behind you, right? So you can't pretty much see that. For some people, they have their own separate rooms, they have their own separate spaces where they do their work. So again, there's that separation between where you work, where you rest, where you spend time with the people that you love. And I guess that's something that you kind of bake into, right, as you work from home.
Yep. Makes a lot of sense. Like, yeah, that's when actually one thing I just did recently is, yeah, you're right. I moved my kind of like table. So I used to be right in front of the bed, like right behind me would be my bed. And I was like, because like if I'm tired, I just like drop right down. So I think, yeah, just moving away, like even if it's like literally a meter away, my bed's like right here now instead. It's been helpful because it's just a bit further, and it's just like that separation helps. So these little cues you might think like, oh, that's just nothing, that's just like that's like BS and stuff. And for some they might think, but then like these little things add up over time, or like especially if you're struggling right now working from home, these little things can really kind of help you find that momentum again, find like like ease into that space, right? And I think a lot of the people right now, Fran, are probably even used to working from home. Like a lot of the agency owners we work with have been working from home for a while already, because like they're self-starting, and like they started their own agency wanting to do that in the first place. But I think one of the things that's kind of like disappeared from the because of the pandemic is like connecting with friends, connecting, going out, like getting like some drinks in, like you de-stress and stuff like that. So what would you say is what would you say like is a way to cope up with that, not being able to kind of like get out there, because like like that's a big way for some to like have a Friday night out. You talk to like 3 bad clients in a row, like on Fridays, like fuck it, I'm gonna go crazy tonight. And now you just can't do that. So what have you seen are some ways to like kind of go around that?
Dude, 100%, man. That's so key. Because I remember back in the day, well, not back in the day, but like before the
It feels like
pandemic.
back then.
Yeah, right. It's like what happened, but
Yeah.
before the pandemic started, that's true. Like every 2 weeks, I guess I'd hang out with some friends, right? If we're having a bad week, an off week, I'd kind of go with some friends as well. And I think as the world has shifted because of this, we all had to kind of cope with this. I can speak from what I did, right? With my friends, my group of friends, we would kind of go on a house party. It's an app. If you guys are familiar with it, you can go ahead and download it. It's free. And it's an app where it kind of mimics a house party, right? A literal house party. And you can hang out with your friends within the app. You can join different conversations and just kind of click on it as if you're joining a conversation in a house party. You can play games and stuff like that. And so what we would do, what we're doing right now is like every single week, not every single week, but every other week, we'd go to a house party and we just, we'd talk with friends, right? It's not the same because you're not in front of someone or you're not beside someone, but it's the best we can do with the circumstances that we have, right? And so I guess having that connection, whether you do it via Zoom or Messenger, I see people, they go on Messenger chats, group chats, just to kind of connect with their friends, right? And this might be something that you have to do proactively. Maybe you have to reach out to some friends of yours, some people that are close with you, to kind of just start that conversation and just kind of see what's up, right? But like to Reynard's point, there has to be some connection, some human connection, even if it's through the screen. and you connect with your friends, because like we are social beings at the same time, right? And so yeah. How about you, bro? Like you see that, like I'm sure you kind of chat with your friends as well.
Hmm. Well, I think it depends on the person. I guess like for me, I
Right.
kind of like I'm pretty introverted to another level. But then, yeah, like it's still been good. For me, I guess it would be staying connected with, especially my like girlfriend and things like that. So I think my immediate family as well, like my mom and things like that. It's like so being more connected with them in this time has helped. Like not being, I don't go out a lot in the first place, so like it's not in my kind of DNA, but like yeah, maintaining that connection is really important. And even for the people like around me that I see, that's why I brought it up, because although I personally am not like that too much, I do see other people like they really thrive off like you said, like being around people. And like in this time I hear that's what one thing that they talk about, like it's been harder to kind of cope with some of these things because there's just no one to talk to sometimes. There's just no one to kind of let out. So that's why I kind of like see that. But yeah, you make an interesting point that sometimes in this time, like especially now that it's not routine that you end up seeing your friends or like seeing your family members. It should be part of your, I wouldn't say like a system. It should be part of like it's something to maintain, like Fran said. So I was reading this book. It's the name is Work the System. It's actually a pretty good book on systems. And he mentioned the author mentioned that even relationships actually are, you can build a system around relationships. Like there's something that's a system that has to be maintained. Some people think, if you have a friend, they're gonna, it's or like if you have a whatever, like acquaintance or something, they're gonna stay that way forever. But then just like anything else, it's a system, like friendships, relationships with family, with loved ones. They can also be seen as systems that have to be maintained. And if you don't maintain them right, like by checking in with a few people, like just saying hi or something, then you're bound to kind of like it's gonna deteriorate over time. And when you kind of need it the most, that's when it's like you can't access it because you were not like maintaining it. So it's an interesting idea. It's like, oh, okay, like this guy's trying to systematize not only business but like life as well. so so that was a good point that was made by that book that ties into this.
Yeah, and I love that you bring that up, because I was speaking to one of our ARF clients. Well, he's about to become an ARF client. He made a deposit, but he was going through some mindset issues. Actually, it was he used to be working like at a co-working space. He used to hang out with his friends, but now because of the pandemic, he's stuck at home, and he was wondering why his business has slowed down. And so I
Mhm.
asked him, well, are you still getting leads? Yep. Are you still converting? Yep. Are your clients getting great results? Yeah, they're loving the results. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with the business, right? And
Yeah.
so I went a little bit deeper, got more personal with him, and told him, well, are you open to becoming pretty personal with me, and just kind of chat about these things, right? And we have this thing called, and again, we learned this from a mentor of ours, a 10-point optimization checklist, where we share with our team members, with our clients. And the reason that I bring this up is like what Raynard said, we have different systems that are not just in our business, right? You have a system for your relationships, a system for your friends, a system for maybe your community. And we this 10-point optimization checklist, it's kind of like a way for you to gauge kind of like your level of sanity, or at the same time gauge if you are optimized as a human being. And I'd like to think about these 10 points as your different systems, right? Systems that you need to kind of take care of, you need to maintain in order for you to have a holistic kind of life. And so these 10 points, and if you guys want to jot this down, but it's your sleep, the food that you eat, your exercise, right? Your morning and evening routines. We talked about routines a while ago. A big part of this is your environment, right? And so working from home, if you're struggling because you're not used to this, well, this is why, right? One of the points of your 10-point optimization checklist is literally your environment. Are you in an environment where you're productive, an environment where people are supportive of what you do, right? Maybe when you're working, you have dogs barking around, you have people playing karaoke, you have, like people watching TV right in front of you. That's something that's so hard to kind of go against, right? So we talk about environment, inputs, right? Reading, journaling. That's another point in the optimization checklist. Your the clothes that you wear, right? When I kind of work from home, I always make sure that there's a distinction between what I'm wearing when I'm sleeping and what I'm wearing when I'm working, right? What else are other points of the checklist? Your environment was one. I think, what else? Oh yeah, miscellaneous, something that is unique to you, right? And so for me, I need to kind of get like some matcha, matcha tea inside me in the morning, just to kind of make sure that, okay, this is the start of the day, right? That's something that's unique to you. And I believe another point would be, see, these are 10 points, and it's like I think I already said 10. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we'll drop
So
it below if you comment live.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
send it over.
So, understanding that you have these kind of 10 points, and if you miss at least three, right, then that pretty much explains why there's, maybe some uncertainty. That explains why maybe you're struggling a little bit in your business, in your work, because you missed these 10 points. And understand that within these 10 points, nothing involves your business, right? These are all, oh yeah, relationships are one. I forgot relationships. That's why we kind of talked about this earlier, because you have relationships with your friends, with your partners, and making sure that that's doing well. That system of your life is pretty much, it's working, right? And so what I'd love for you guys to do, guys and girls, is, kind of list down these 10 points, and I can drop it down below, but, list down these 10 points and just do a check mark or an X, and just ask yourself, is this area of my life, is it doing good, right? Am I, putting in the 7 to 8 hours of sleep? And am I exercising 3 times a week at least? Am I eating junk food, right? Just put a check mark or an X beside those things. And if you hit at least three of those that are an X, meaning you're not really doing well with that area of your life, then now you have full clarity on what you need to improve first. And I promise you 100%, if you fix those three things first, you'll have a much better outlook in life. Things start to get better because of that, if that makes sense.
Yep, agreed. Yeah, it's a big thing, like, that whole idea that your, business issues are coming, they stem from your personal issues, and optimizing and just finding, clarity within yourself personally. That's priority number one. Like, your business is just gonna like follow through with that. So if you're going through something personally, or you have like issues there, you have to find them out and like figure out how to fix them. And that's why, like Fran said, he went on a call with this guy who's gonna, hopefully becomes an ARF client. But then that's kind of what we do. We don't just look at like, hey, use the system, like plug it in, because like sometimes it's not the solution. Sometimes you just need some alignment personally, you need some alignment in your business, wherever it is, before you can even leverage and utilize the systems we give you. Because in the program, we're very, very focused on just usability and your ability to adapt what we give you. Because we don't want to just give you like a bunch of stuff and like you're not able to use it for your business. So that's why we really dig down. Okay, what's your, what issues are you facing, both personal and business? And that's why you even get like a coach 1-to-1 every week, hopping on the phone with you, seeing what blockers you have, either personal again or business, just to make sure we're moving you forward in the right direction. Right. So nailing that down is a very big key. And I hope like so far in this show, you guys have taken some steps to kind of help you do that.
100%. Yeah. And to that point, like, we have two programs, right? You have the ARF Accelerator, which is like 10 weeks, and then you also have our Newton program, which is like for longer term clients. And both of these programs have an element to it where we talk about self mastery, right? And self mastery comes with like, the 10-point optimization checklist. Are you connecting with the people that you love? Are you kind of doing things outside of business, right? You have your own coach, kind of like the ARF program. With the longer term program, during our snapshot sessions, you always ask your clients, how's everything going outside of business, right? Because you can have all these great systems in the world, but again, if you have issues in your personal life, they do start to creep up, right, over time into your business. So definitely want to do that. That's it, man. I mean, working from home, it's a struggle. But it's, again, first step is to have self-awareness and an acceptance that, hey, you're not the only one affected by this. This is something that's happening all around the world, and we're all just trying to adapt to the situation. And sooner or later, we're all gonna go back to normal. But this is just a phase in your life, right? Maybe this is just a winter season in your life, and so being able to adapt to that. There are many different places around the world where it's winter every single day. People are still there. They're living, right? Awareness. Second is, and there's this 3-to-1 button again that's going on in the live, but second is, Rainer mentioned this earlier in the show, is, manufacturing control, right? Even if you're at home, you have full control of your environment. You have full control of your workday. Even if you have seasons of winter, you have full control of what you can do when that's coming up, right? So understanding that you can change things, right? You can be proactive when it comes to your environment. Maybe it means maybe you need to move somewhere else in the house, or maybe you need to move your bed so that you don't see it, or maybe it means getting like a divider, or implementing the 10-point optimization checklist. Whatever it is, you have full control, right, of this, right? And then I guess third is just making sure that there is an outlet for you, right? Whether you're an extrovert or an introvert, maybe it means chatting with friends, chatting with people that you love, or just being having a conversation with your spouse or your partner, or if you don't want to speak with anyone, whatever it is that you want to do, right? Maybe you have some hobbies at home that separates work from business, and so that's pretty much it, right? Right. I think you want to add to that.
Yeah. No, that should be good. Like, just, in general, just, find ways to connect. And yeah, just make sure that I think the biggest thing here, like you mentioned, is really self-awareness. Try to not run away from, the things you feel or the things you're seeing with yourself, and just like embrace it and like make the most out of it. So especially in this time, it's so hard to do all these things, but don't add one more kind of like blocker by not like being aware of what's happening, and just not accepting, like, you're going through the phase or like another season. So being self-aware is just like, I would say, is like the number one point. Yeah.
Awesome. And if you guys want to chat more about this, feel free to send me a message. I do get people kind of like open up to me with their issues as well, and happy to just kind of give you guys some advice outside of systems and business, right? And so with that said, I mean, that's our Automate Your Agency show. It's not a specific automation, but it is a system still, like what Reynard said. And that's a very interesting point of view of like, even outside of your business, there are different systems that you need to optimize, you need to streamline, maybe you need to automate a few things. Maybe down the road, we can start thinking about, automate your personal life, a different segment. But that's it. So let us know what you think about this show. Hashtag live down below. But quick updates here before we hop off for anyone that's watching the replay. We will be having a couple of more interviews, maybe 2 a month down the road, right? And I went live a few days ago about one of our initiatives for October, which is really building partnerships with people. I kind of shared with you guys the strategies that we are implementing at Agency Rocket Fuel. And if you run a business that serves agency owners, right, in a maybe it's a software, maybe it's a different service, feel free to send me a message. I'd love to kind of connect with you, see what you're doing, see what community you're building, and maybe we can kind of start a conversation around, maybe we can build a partnership together. And whatever it is, if you're serving that market, let me know. Would love to kind of move that conversation forward. Next week, for next week's show, do we already have a topic, bro, for next week? I'm not sure.
I think next week I'm not sure, but I think we're talking about some sort of hiring, something around hiring. Yeah.
Cool. So if you guys are maybe starting your team or you're growing your team, definitely want to tune in next week. We do this every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you want to learn more about hiring, I think we've done 2 shows on this topic as well. So
yep.
That's something that you want to look into. Any other updates? Oh, and if you are struggling with anything specifically about your agency, whether it's a bottleneck in lead generation, a bottleneck in fulfillment, a bottleneck in hiring, send me a message. Let me know specifically what you're struggling with, because we have tons and tons and tons of training materials, resources that you can use, so you don't have to figure this out. All you have to do is send me a message. I'll make sure that you get taken care of. With that said, we are reaching the 30-minute mark. This is probably our shortest show, but it's also very important for your sanity. With that said, Rainer, I think you want to add before we hop off here?
Nope, should be good.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching this show. We will see you guys next week. And,
all right.
take care and have a good week. All right.
See you guys. Peace.
Bye.